Hi everyone. Everyone's done some great reading about faith development this last couple of weeks and applied it to the children that you've been talking to. I've been reading all of your discussions and you've raised some really interesting questions, and I thought I would just review and summarize some of the things that we were learning about. A lot of people answered question 1 and were interested in question 3. Left out question 2, so let me get to that one first perhaps. So when we think about the word faith, we think in terms of something that's dynamic, something that's moving, something that's always changing. That's different from the word belief. Belief is often thought of as something that's static. We say, I believe in God, or I don't believe in God. And it's kind of done, it's finished. You know, it's either one or the other, it's black and white. Not very helpful actually. And I avoid that question when talking to kids all the time. Unfortunately, a lot of kids are asked that question and they think they need to respond to it. And in the little fella piece that was posted, there we had a mother who understood that their child just was not interested in God and yet had a fully Jewish life in many ways, and will continue to go on and explore many things that are spiritual in their lives, but God may not be the language that they want to use at this point. So I like the word faith better than the word belief, and I like the idea that we want to think about how to nurture and grow and develop the capacity for faith, and I think of that as an active verb, so sometimes we use the word faithing. And by that I mean I want to develop children's capacity to wonder and to grow and to be curious and to discover and to be in awe, and the capacity for creativity. Those are the capacities for faith that I think are part of what we're trying to do with our kids. The word development is actually a word that I don't really like, and as I think as Emily said, it's very linear and it's very one-directional and it's very hierarchical. So, you know, if we think of faith development, then we think that one faith must be better than another, and it's higher to be stage 5 than stage 4, which may not be true. I mean, that may be a very Christian Western way of thinking about the world, but to be in a community of similar people in stage 3, to really be surrounded by that community, to feel strong in that community, to feel the authorities in that community, that could be a very powerful, mature way of understanding one's faith. I don't think that necessarily is better or worse than any other. But there are different seasons of our lives, as one writer has written about it, or different ways in which we deepen our experiences of faith. So we can think about that and the ways in which we want to use a verb to describe what happens to faith. Does it grow? Does it change? Does it develop? Is it nurtured? We need to know more about that, and the way to learn about that is to learn about the lives of people who've been through it. So that's really question 2. Question 1 was, so what are the implications for Jewish education for this theory? And it is a theory, and it's not necessarily the only theory. It's not the only way people grow. It's a theory of psychological development. And I write in my article, The Faith Development in Jewish Education, about some of the problems with the theory. But it does have some helpful things I think we can use. First of all, I think as you've all described, it helps us think about ourselves. You know, where are we with respect to things like authority and judgment, decision making, perspective taking, symbolic reasoning, and where do we fit in that category, and how did we get there? And do you remember that very first exercise we did, the chapters of our life, the story of our life? That's one of the exercises to see kind of where we are on that journey of faith as we grow and change. So that's helpful for us. For our kids, it's about guiding them and helping them see the journey that they're on, and to again go back to that Feller article. Just because a child now says he or she's an atheist doesn't mean to say it always has to be like that. That those things can change again, and if you know that you're on a journey, if everyone feels they're on a journey, then they'll know that, okay, for a while they feel this way, and they may change their minds again and their hearts later on. So we want to think about how faith development theory can help us be the educators we want to be, I think that's pointing us to the work of nurturing people's faith capacities, the ones I mentioned earlier, and also to make sure that our work is something that facilitates that growth and is ongoing, and it's wondering with people rather than wondering and talking about God or spirituality. Talking about it necessarily won't help, but wondering with young people about what they think about it can be very helpful, and that can be a really fruitful role for us to take. And then thirdly, your own descriptions. I think this is a terribly hard exercise, and it's actually a bit misleading, because just because we have a faith development theory and a faith development stage to put people into doesn't mean to say we should label them that way. No one really is, it's a theory, so no one really is in one stage or another in all aspects. Generally, we see this growth in childhood from 1 to 3, and the kind of suggestion is that over that childhood period, there is going to be a change in the way they see the nature of God, the nature of prayer, the nature of symbols, what they signify, how miracles work, as we, from the books that you mentioned, how authority becomes part of their lives, whether it's shifting from an outside being to an inside voice of conscience. Those things do happen in childhood, and we see a trend there. After stage 3, and you'll remember that Fowler and Roberta Goodman suggest that actually not many adults go beyond stage 3. Many of them stay in that place. And I said earlier, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That can be a very nurturing place. But for those people who kind of move into another season of their lives with perhaps a more individualistic, less symbolically rich, richly rich faith stage, then those people are thinking of doing something else, and 5 and 6, etc. So it's hard to say one person is in a stage, but it's good to know where generally we can expect people to be. It's also helpful, someone said earlier, that when we come to the symbols and the rituals of our practices, the people are really doing things for different motivations. You will see perhaps an adult feel uncomfortable about being in the presence of the Sefer Torah one way or another. You know, should I kiss it? Should I bow to it? Should I touch my talit to it? Can I hold it? Can I touch it? Can I take it from one place to another? So adults see the Torah as a sacred object. Now children also see the Torah as a sacred object, but for different motivations. And they will maybe be thinking about the same things. But when they kiss the Torah, that may be because that's a symbol for them of really loving something. And so we have to remember that when we're teaching them things about how to be with the Torah, or how to be with the ritual objects of our tradition, how to light Shabbat candles, they may not be in the same place that we are when we're thinking about it. And you know, we often in our homes, Friday night, Shabbat at the dinner table, for some people can be a very difficult experience, because kids are actually reacting to it differently than we are. We may think, okay, now it's Shabbat, it's quiet, we're all going to be quiet, we're all going to do these blessings quietly, we're going to have this kind of quiet time, and the kids are very excited because Shabbat has come and the lights are going to be this magical quality of these lights, and we're going to jump up and down. So we have to remember that our theory tells us that people are going to be approaching these things in very different ways. So I just thought I'd summarize some of that for you, and looking forward to moving on to some of our pedagogic implications of all this.